Welcome to the Downtown Down Low virtual podcast. We hear from our members and learn something new about downtown Madison. This podcast is brought to you by the law firm of Carlson, Black, O'Callaghan, and Battenberg, located in the heart of downtown Madison. Carlson Black specializes in commercial real estate, business, and tax law. Carlson Black is a proud DMI member and proud to represent many of our members help to build a vibrant and inclusive downtown. Welcome to another version of the Downtown Down Low. My name is Jason Ilster, president of Downtown Madison, Inc., and we are so lucky today to have a very timely presentation with our friends from Community Shares of Wisconsin to talk about this year's Big Give. It means spring is around the corner and the Big Share is happening right now in about 1 week's time. So really timely topic. We are so fortunate to have Victoria Boucher of Community Shares of Wisconsin, newly promoted Associate Director. Welcome, Victoria. How are you today?
Thank you, Jason. I am doing really well. It's nice and sunny here today, so glad to have that extra energy coming to us.
Well, I think the extra energy is also being brought by your amazing background. I love the green. It pops, tells us all to give to the Big Share. Many of you may not know the story of Community Shares of Wisconsin. It is a hyper-important organization, always has been, helping service so many nonprofits, I think over 50 nonprofits in our area, to make sure that they have the funding they need to help our entire community. But now with COVID, many has changed for many members of our community, and their work is so vitally important. That's why this year's Big Share campaign is paramount to us all. So we're going to talk about the Big Share campaign, what Community Shares of Wisconsin does, and just get to know our good friend Victoria better. Victoria, what is important and why is the work of Community Shares of Wisconsin so important right now?
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, Community Shares of Wisconsin has actually been around for exactly 50 years. We just are going to be celebrating our 50th anniversary this year, which is huge and timely given the rise in support and interest, I think, in social justice, both locally and across the country. So Community Shares was actually founded 50 years ago, partly with some interesting roots. About 50 years ago, there were a group of folks who were organizing around the Vietnam War and were protesting the Vietnam War. So this idea came about of how people could support one another in the community and help bail out folks who had been arrested during the protests. So it was kind of started out as a bail fund in a small way, and it was just people contributing what they could, everybody chipping in what they can to help bail out those folks. And that method and idea of folks just contributing what they can and knowing that collectively that helps, that makes a big difference, that at its core, at its roots, built towards something of shared values towards social justice that still exists today within the mindset of our different member nonprofits. And we've grown over those 50 years to represent 70 member nonprofits that are doing work within both the social justice movement locally, as well as working towards environmental sustainability.
So how has that model transformed to say, wait, we all have this shared vision for how we want to help our community? How has it morphed in the last 50 years to where you are today?
We're so fortunate that the community just continues to want to support us and our member nonprofits. So we have been able to really grow in so many ways to meet the needs of our member nonprofits. So in terms of support towards our nonprofits, we're fundraising for them, we're marketing their work, we're helping to support them with a variety of different resources that they might need, offering trainings, and working towards just continuing to help make them stronger so they can really focus on doing the important grassroots work that they do and focus maybe a little less on some of the more administrative things so they can just truly get at that social change work that they're so good at. The ways that we as an organization have continued to adapt and meet those needs come through a variety of different ways of fundraising. We offer a program at the Willie Street Co-op, the CHIP program, which allows customers at any of the co-op locations to be able to contribute just pennies off of their grocery store trip to be able to chip in and make a donation towards Community Shares of Wisconsin, which raises over, I don't have the final numbers in my mind from 2020, but I want to say it's right around $300,000 raised just from folks purely giving a little out of each grocery store trip, which is incredible. We also have a similar fundraising program available at Capitol Center Market near downtown, which allows folks to round up and contribute dollars and pennies towards community shares in our member nonprofits throughout the year. We also have incredible partnerships with local businesses and organizations who choose to offer workplace giving as a way that they want to support the local community, allowing employees to give what they would like to. Again, following the same model of everybody giving what they can, giving a little out of each paycheck, and knowing that collectively that contributes in huge numbers towards our member nonprofits. And that actually happens through both private sector partnerships as well as through the public sector with UW Madison and state of Wisconsin employees in Dane County, contributing so much towards community shares of Wisconsin in our member groups. And finally, one thing that's evolved more recently for community shares is this online day of giving that we host, the Big Share, which is coming up on Tuesday, March 2nd. And this will be our 7th year hosting this giving campaign.
Wow, before we get to the big give, I think it's amazing how this group, you guys have really pivoted over 50 years to find new ways to give. And I love the idea of giving extra money to the CHIP program at Willie Street and at Cat Center Foods. You're supporting downtown, you're supporting 2 local institutions, but also you're able to help nonprofits. Let's talk about, the different groups. You said clearly real focus on social justice and then on the environment as well. Many of your members are our members as well, whether or not Sustain Dane, Clean Wisconsin, Commonwealth Development, 1,000 Friends, and then you guys as well. Describe all of the different nonprofits that you work with to try to help with both funding, with marketing, all of these things. It really does run a gamut over those 70 nonprofits.
Yeah, I think when folks think of social justice, different images and different issues might come to mind for them. And I feel like our member nonprofits are truly running the gamut of the different issues that are needed to be addressed to really see that long-term social justice and actually achieving change. So our nonprofits kind of fall into some different categories. They might be working to protect the environment on one end of things, and that falls into things like food access, farming, sustainable land, water, and air. And then when we think about social justice even more broadly, we're thinking about folks advocating for the LGBTQ community, working towards equity across gender identity. We're working to empower and show respect towards folks with disabilities and advocating within their community. We are seeing civil rights protected and getting folks engaged in taking action and leadership within their communities. We're supporting women, children, and families, thinking about things like healthcare and education, and really working towards just such a wide array of different issues. The other pieces that fall into that are things like civic engagement and racial justice, and just really seeing people be able to be heard and listened to. So many of our member nonprofits are really working in communities, both in Dane County and across the state of Wisconsin, to work with folks who are most impacted by issues and work with those people to lift up their solutions and ideas, knowing that we could listen to a number of different folks' opinions and perspectives about the issues that we're all facing, and that's important. And we can't truly see change and have things get better if we're not listening to the people who are most impacted by issues. They're the ones who are experiencing and feeling what's happening, and they often are the ones who have the best solutions to help us get to the other side of things and help us imagine ways that things can be different, that we don't just have to get to status quo and accept things that they are. Our member nonprofits, all 70 of them, truly have some incredible visions and bold ideas that sometimes people aren't ready for. And so we need to keep lifting up their message and their voices to make sure that we can all keep learning from them and keep being inspired and challenged to think differently, knowing that their long-term vision is good for all of us.
So speaking of lifting up their voices, I think there's no better way to do that than the Big Share. This is a fantastic event that's been happening for the last several years, where we really have this large time to say we need to support our local nonprofits, just like we mentioned the ones, 1,000 Friends or Clean Wisconsin. These groups that are doing such important work right now. Last year, we had the good honor of being part of the Big Share for the first time and helped host an event. I think it was one of the last events right before COVID, a great event at Hotel Indigo with our friends from Forward Madison and a lot of other groups at MG&E. This year's Big Share obviously is going to be different. What does this year's Big Share look like virtually, and how can our members get involved?
You are right that it was one of the last events that it was one of the last events that I attended, and I think many other people attended before COVID was really hitting Dane County, which is pretty wild and sombering at times to think about. But here we are 1 year later, and the community is obviously reeling in different ways and needing the support more than ever. So in our 7th year of hosting the Big Share along with Madison Community Foundation, we are so excited to be able to bring this for its 7th time to the community, to be able to offer a way for all of us to do what we can to help our neighbors, to help our community, to help these 70 member nonprofits who are doing such important work. So the Big Share is a way for all of us to contribute and take action. That might be through making a minimum of a $5 donation through thebigshare.org. And that's just where things start. There's so many ways for people to get connected and to do even more to help all these incredible nonprofits. So if you care so much about a nonprofit that you're willing to give them your money and make a donation, you can take that even farther by starting a individual, like a personal fundraising page. I think a lot of people are familiar with Facebook fundraisers and being able to invite your friends and family to support the causes that you care about. Well, thebigshare.org has individual fundraising pages that allow you to tell your story, share your support towards a particular nonprofit, or you can have people contribute to any nonprofit that they want to, but these individual fundraising pages tie it back to you, which is great because it's a way for you to see your impact. It's good for the nonprofits because it helps them reach new people and helps them know exactly who's contributing to them and who's getting behind your support towards their organization. You can share about the day. You can follow along with all the excitement that's happening online at #CSWBigShare. And you can attend some virtual events with us. As Jason was just saying, we're disappointed that we don't get to have these in-person events this year. I think we all had hoped that with the way that COVID was going, that we might be able to get to a point that we can all get together and be in community with one another. But that's not going to happen yet this year, maybe for 2022. But I will say that I am so impressed with all the events that our team has pulled together to still make the virtual version of the Big Share be fun and exciting. So kicking things off on Monday night, March 1st at 6 p.m. There's a drag bingo event as our kickoff to the Big Share. So this is sponsored by Madison Gas and Electric, and it will be a ton of fun for folks who have gone to drag bingo in person before or who have tuned in person, virtually, or if you haven't ever attended. I think it'll be fun for all of us. There'll be prizes for bingo winners, prizes for nonprofits as they're competing throughout the Big Share to raise money, have the most donors, and reach people starting at 6 p.m. and going all the way through midnight on Tuesday, March 2nd. So it's 30 hours of excitement and energy going towards raising our goal of $500,000 in a day for these 70 member nonprofits. So that's huge. So that's the first event of the Big Share. And then all day long on Tuesday, March 2nd at thebigshare.org, you can tune into the Big Share Live, which is going to have a ton of events and ways for you to engage all day long, starting off in the morning with virtual workout coming from Badger Fitness. We'll have interviews and videos featuring some of our 70 member nonprofits all day. So it's a chance to not only be entertained at different times throughout the day, but also to learn and think about different issues that might not always be top of mind for all of us. And then as the day goes along, we'll have featured interviews, we'll have live streamed concerts, we'll have a poetry reading from Madison's own poet laureate, and just a number of different things that people can connect with. So if folks want to see a schedule of events or just tune in at any point during the day on Tuesday, March 2nd, they can go to thebigshare.org to follow along. And not just content from us, but for any of the nonprofits of community shares that you might care a lot about, you can follow along with them to see what they might have cooking on their own end of things in terms of ways that you as a supporter can engage with, events to watch or tune into, messages that you can help them lift up. Really, the Big Share is about all of us in our community being able to connect and come together in support of some really incredible nonprofits that are doing such important work.
Look, I know we're all a little bit zoomed out, and I maybe am one of the biggest causes of that, since I'm literally on Zoom all the time in front of you guys. But if you haven't seen Drag Bingo, you participate. And it's a great way to help out nonprofits. It's a wonderful, wonderful event. Do it, support the Big Share as much as you can, whether or not it's by attending these events, giving money, or starting an individual page, or join us on the DMI's page. We are there to help our nonprofits. All right, Victoria, I didn't tell you about this beforehand, but are you ready for the Fast and Furious 5, where I ask you 5 quick, rapid questions about you? Are you ready?
Oh, I am excited. And you are right. You did not warn me about this.
No, I don't, because it makes it all that much more rich. Okay, first question. What's your favorite popsicle flavor?
Ooh, I would go with blue, which I believe is actually blue raspberry, but of course popsicles need to be recognized by their color and not the actual flavor.
Yes, it looks a little like windshield wiper fluid, but I think it's raspberry, right? This is sub A. This is not a second question. Do you like Bomb Pops?
Yes, I do. Very
the white, that pineapple, that's my favorite. Second question. What's the best concert you've ever seen in Madison?
Best concert in Madison. Ooh, I've seen so many. I love going to concerts. I am terrible at picking favorites of things. I will go with I will go with, at the Sylvie, I saw Jenny Lewis, and it was actually gifted concert tickets to me because a friend wasn't able to go anymore. So I got to sit upstairs in the special seated area. But during one of her songs, she did this huge balloon release from the ceiling, and it was just extra fun and engaging. She's a beautifully talented artist, so it was a very good time.
I mean, that sounds like a double win, a great concert, and it was free.
Mm-hmm.
And Sylvie, so a way to support downtown. All right, under COVID, almost all that we can do is outside. What has been your secret successful spot to go outside to really find yourself recharged?
I will share, I just went to this place yesterday. I moved, I was fortunate, my fiance and I were able to buy a house. So we are on the north side, just by the Cherokee Marsh. So I love cross-country skiing, and I was able to get out yesterday. I will say that I hadn't gone out in weeks. I was letting the very dire cold keep me inside. But the Cherokee Marsh has some lovely trails, and I absolutely enjoy getting to get outside for a little bit, get some exercise in, enjoy the little bit of sunshine that we've been given.
Well, you and I have something in common, because I went to Elver Park yesterday for the first time in weeks, hadn't gone in a long time because it was too cold, and I'm from Minnesota. All right, we asked you the Bomb Pop question. We'll take that as your last. All right, your last question then. What is the one food item you're most excited to eat live downtown when we can all go back to more normal?
That is tough. I have been getting myself by from doing takeout not as much as I could, but at least once a week, if not multiple. I would say that I miss being able to dine outdoors and enjoy, well, I've dined outdoors. I haven't dined indoors enough, but I would love to go back to Red Sushi and be able to enjoy their lunch special. Go downtown when I'm at the office, be able to head over there for their delicious and very reasonably priced lunch special for some sushi rolls.
Well, I think we have to have a DMI, Community Shares of Wisconsin, group lunch, because it's equidistant between our two offices. Tip on Red Sushi. I know this seems completely odd because it's a sushi place and literally sushi's in their name, but their ramen is excellent. Just there's your free downtown trip. Thank you, Victoria, today for telling us about the Big Share and everything that Community Shares of Wisconsin does. Victoria is the Associate Director. We are so thankful for your time today. Folks, help out the Big Share. Go to the website, attend their events, help give, send this message to your friends. The nonprofits that are working in social justice and the environment and sustainability need our help now more than ever. Lots of people are suffering, and these nonprofits are the ones that are on the ground helping today. So please, please go check out all the information at Community Shares Wisconsin website and the Big Share. Thank you as well for all of you for watching today, and thank you for our friends at Carlson, Black, O'Callahan, and Battenberg for presenting sponsorship as well. Hope you all have a great rest of the day. We'll talk to you soon on the next Downtown Download.